guys, so in the Facebook group the other day, people were talking about their Fauxdoris and their Midoris and where to get inserts from. And I said, well, if you only want like just plain inserts, you know, you just make your own. Or, you know, if you make your own and you're an artist or something and you particularly want watercolour paper or something like that, then you can make your own inserts. Obviously, there are plenty of places out there that you can buy them from, but you know, they're really easy to make. And then I realised that not everybody knew how to make them, so I, by request, am doing a little tutorial for you on how to make inserts for your Fauxdoris. So yeah, you can make them out of anything. So I'll just run through some of the materials that you would need in order to make your inserts. So firstly, you'll need some scissors or a paper cutter. I am without a paper cutter at the moment, so I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way with using scissors. You are going to want, if you're using not using a paper cutter and you're using old-fashioned scissors, you're probably going to want a pencil and a ruler. A ruler or a pair of scissors is useful even if you do have a paper cutter, and I will come on to that in a bit anyway. So you might want to just gather those around you so that you've got those to hand. And you can either staple your booklet, but I prefer to sew mine. I find that it's more durable, and you can use bookbinding thread like waxy thread, or I prefer to use twine. I like it because it's nice and strong and sturdy, but it also comes in loads of different colours and it's really, really pretty. So yeah, so grab something. It needs to be, don't use string because you need it to be like really pliable and bendy, but strong enough that it's going to withhold some a bit of tension. And then you'll need a needle. I use I think this is a darning needle. It's got a really, really wide hole. The reason I use one with a wide hole is obviously because I'm using thick thread, and that's, ow, and don't prick yourself, because that's not good. Okay, so the other thing you is optional is what's called a pokey tool. Some people use a bookbinding awl. They're a bit more pricey. This is just a pokey tool that you can get from most craft shops, because a lot of people use it when they're embossing or making like pretty dots on greetings cards and things. This is really inexpensive. You don't need it, it's just useful. It just makes the job a little bit easier, but it's not essential. So if you don't have one, don't sweat it, it's absolutely fine. So those are the tools that you're going to need. Obviously you're going to need to use or want some paper in your inserts. So let's move these out of the way. So you don't have to have a pretty cover for your booklet if you don't want to, but if you do, then grab yourself some pretty cards, some scrapbook paper, something like that. And then you're going to need the paper that goes on the inside. Now the beauty, as I said, of making your own inserts is that you can determine what paper you put inside this beauty. And obviously you can make a booklet with one lot of paper in it, or you can you can mix and match. The good thing about Fauxdoris is that obviously you've got usually between 2 and 4 strings, which means you can put 2 and 4 booklets in. So you could do one booklet of plain, one booklet of watercolour, etc. Or you could do one booklet with a mix of papers in it, and I'm probably going to do that. So I've got this like dot paper, but it's a really beautiful sketch paper. I've got some beautiful smooth Staler Rowley smooth heavyweight sketch paper. Again, that's really, really nice to work with. I have got some I've got a lot of papers. The Daler Rowley mixed media paper, that's a lot tougher, so it's really, really thick. I'm probably not going to use this in my Fauxdori just because it's so blooming thick. Great for a front cover though, if you wanted to paint your front cover. What other papers do I have? I have watercolour paper. Again, that's quite thick. Just showing you a few different sorts of papers. I also have a bleed proof marker pen paper that's this is A3. That's really good if you're using alcohol markers. When you're using alcohol markers, they do bleed through, and this still bleeds through, as in you can see it on the other page, but because it's bleed proof paper, it doesn't go through to the page below, and that's super thin. So yeah, just grab yourself a variety, you know, either choose one set of paper. You can even use just normal office copy paper, you know, the sort of stuff that you get. Oh, I've got a whole ream of it here. Just this kind of, you know, office paper. It depends on what you're going to be doing it, using it for. This is just 90 GSM, so it's not the greatest, but depends on what you want your inserts for and what you're going to be doing with it. And I've also got like this Heidi Swap. It's got pretty papers in it. I'm going to pop some of those in as well. So the only thing you have to watch, and I'm not very good at it, so I'm not including it in this tutorial, is lined paper. So if you have A4 lined paper, obviously when you're looking at A4 lines, it goes that way. But when we're going to be folding our books, our paper is going to be going that way, so the lines don't match up. You know, the lines will then be vertical rather than horizontal. I'm not that good at making lined inserts, so if it was lined inserts that you were after, this video is not for you, but there might be one out there on YouTube land. So let's get started. So the first thing to do is just gather your papers together, and, you know, just kind of think about what papers you want to put in your books, and literally just spend some time collating all your papers together. How many papers you need depends on how big your booklet, how thick your booklet wants to be. So yeah, gather your papers together. Okay, so I've gathered my papers. I'm just going to use a mix of the dotted one, the heavyweight sketchbook paper, and I'm also going to throw in a couple of decorative inserts as well. So I've gathered my paper together, and I have got my scrapbook paper for the front cover. So if you've already got Fauxdori Inserts, the easiest thing for you to do is to take your old Fauxdori insert and open it up, line it up with your paper, and either use your pencil and where's my pencil gone? Oh yeah, use your pencil and just kind of sketch. So you've got your outline, and if you're doing it manually like me, use your scissors and cut it out, or put it through your paper cutter. So that's like the quick and easy way if you've already got Fauxdori inserts. And obviously I'm not going to give you measurements because depends on whether you've got like a traditional, a passport, or extra wide, that kind of thing. If you don't already have inserts, then you just need to take your Fauxdori and your ruler and just measure how big you want it. Obviously you don't want your insert to go right to the very edge. You want to allow some room and a bit of leeway. So obviously you can see from this insert there, you've got probably a centimetre top and bottom, and probably 2 centimetres, centimetre and a half at the edge there. So whatever size your Fauxdori is, just measure how far you want your you know, your insert to come out. Obviously the width you need to double it because you've got 2, and then you've then got your height. So either trace current inserts or measure out your inserts, and then cut all your papers down to the same size if you're using like larger paper. If like me you're using these papers which are smaller, you just want to leave them as they are and do nothing with them. So yeah, go ahead and cut all your papers. Okay, so I've got my papers ready to go. I've decided I'm literally just going to use the dotted paper and these two pretty papers. I'm not going to go for the heavyweight sketch paper. I've also changed my mind, and I'm going to use this as my cover. Now, when it comes to your cover, when you're cutting it, you don't want to make it the same size. You want to make it the same height, but you want to make it just a very slightly wider, not a lot, only slightly. So I'm going to make it about half a centimetre-ish. It's not, doesn't have to be like majorly accurate or anything. But yeah, you just want it a little smidgen wider so that it just kind of wraps around your inserts properly. So just bear that in mind. So now we are ready to start making our booklets. Now as you know, I've hand cut all my inserts, so they may be a bit wonky, but never mind. This is where your pair of scissors or your ruler comes in handy, because you now want to fold your inserts in half. And if you don't have a one of those bone folder thingies, then your handle on your scissors comes in handy. So you just want to take a couple of pieces at a time, fold them in half, and then just use the back of your scissors or your bone folder just to kind of help ease them down. So yeah, go ahead and fold all your inserts. Okay, so now you've got all your inserts folded, you just want to put them, all your papers folded, you just want to kind of put them inside each other and just stack them up. This is, if you were making a bigger journal, this is what's called a signature. So all your papers together. And I've got my extra little pretty papers, and what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to lay one of them in the middle, like so, and then a few pages in, there we go, I'll take that off, and I'm going to lay the other one in there like so, and then like that, and then I'm going to put them inside my cover. So as you can see, just because it was that little bit wider, it wraps around absolutely beautifully. A Fauxdori or Fauxdori insert has almost been born. Okay, so next step is to take your pokey tool or your needle or anything like that, and we're going to be poking some holes for binding. I do 3 holes, but you can do 5. I find 3 is perfect for me. 3 for me. Okay, so if you've got too many papers in your booklet, you may find it is too thick for your pokey tool to go all the way through. If it is, just do 1 piece of paper and then a couple more, and you know, just see how thick you can get it through. You want to get your first hole somewhere in the middle, so you want to push your pokey tool through until it comes out the other side. You can see that it goes in and out. So 1 in the middle, and then another 2 either side. And if you're using shorter papers, you want to make sure that you're going to catch those shorter papers. So I'm going to put 1 there. Just mind your fingers on the other side when you do this, because obviously that's very sharp and you could hurt yourself. And I don't want to be responsible for any injuries out there at all. So yeah, just be really super careful. Mine's thick, but my pokey tool is quite sharp and giving it a bit of welly. So there we go. We've now got our 3 holes. Now it's time to introduce the twine to your needle. And when you're measuring out the twine that you need, I just tend to, because I like to have extra so that just in case, you'll need a full length and a little bit, just so that you've got enough to you know, you've got enough that you can be working and not worry about not having enough thread or anything. So can I do this in one go. Probably. Woohoo! I did it in, well, 2 goes. Okay, so you've got your twine on your needle. So the first thing you need to do is take your booklet, find the middle hole of your booklet and poke your needle through. And you'll find that as you've got your holes already there, it is so much easier doing it without the twine. So pull your twine through and leave yourself a nice tail on the other side. Oh, I've got hair there. Okay, so you leave yourself a nice tail on the inside. Then come to the outside and find one of your holes, either the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go for the bottom and I'm going to poke my needle back through. Yeah. Pulling it tight on the edge, not too tight so it breaks my hole, but pulling it tight on the edge and not too tight so that I've still been left with my tail. Don't want to lose my tail there. Okay, so once you've done that, you want to go back through the centre hole. We're doing a figure of 8 system, so if you're doing 5 holes, the principle applies, but make sure you do it in a figure of 8. So, okay, pull that taut again, so now you've got one line there and one line there, and you've still got your tail. So then flip it over to the other side, and then go through the top hole. Like so. So now you've got one continuous line in the back there. And take your needle off your thread. And then you've got your finishing tail at the top here and the tail that you left when you first began. Bring your bottom tail down to the middle where your original tail was. And you just want to tie it in a knot as close to the centre as possible. This is where someone with an extra finger comes in handy. You can get a friend to help you. If not, it is a bit twiddly. Just tie it off. There we go. One knot should suffice, but if you want another one, do another one. So let's do another one for luck. And then just cut off your strands as close to the knot as possible. And there you have it. You've got yourself a bound little book. You've got different papers in there. So yeah, there you go. There's my little insert. It's quite cute. It's, you know, it's in if you don't want to put tip-ins in with Project Life cards, then that's a perfect way of making sure they're in there. They're nice and sewn in. Beautiful. So there we go. You've got yourself your own Fauxdori insert. I'm just laying that flat. I've packed mine full. It's quite a thick little insert. But yeah, you've now got yourself a Fauxdori insert with whatever paper you like to use in it. You know, so if you are a watercolour artist and you want to just have watercolour in there, then you've got watercolour paper. And easy as pie, if pie was easy. There we go. Pop it in my, oh, I'm getting my twizzles mixed up. There we go. Getting all mixed up. There we are. We are in. My booklet is in my Fauxdori. There we go. So I can't wait to see all your homemade booklets now. Have fun and enjoy. Bye.